are precepts. Precepts are the beginning thought or idea. All right. So what was Elohim's beginning thought or idea when it came to evil? Did he say, I'm going to create evil because of this? I'm not going to do it because of that. Which side was he on? What's the explanation for it? So nobody does anything without actually having a thought or idea before it. We may say some people do stuff based off of whim, but a thought still had to pop into their head to tell them do this. It may not have been a good idea, but it still was an idea that came up. So we have to get the reasoning behind why this is taking place or why this is not taking place. All right. And we know that if you understand precepts, that it will increase your knowledge. It'll increase your wisdom, which is the application of knowledge. And we see this in Tehillim called Psalms 119 and 100. Here it reads, I understand more than the age. And this is David. He was referring to the elders when he said the age. I understand more than the age because I have kept your precepts. So those original thoughts that Elohim had, and we know that David had a heart that was totally bent towards the Father. He was seeking the Father. He really wanted him. He wanted to be what Elohim had originally designed for us to be in the earth in his image and likeness. All right. So with David wanting or having this desire in him, he did it by searching the scriptures or getting an understanding of Elohim's precepts, his ideas. What is it, Father, that you are saying? I want to get to know you, because if I get to know you, Father, then I can get to know what it is that you want for me to do. Because we know that the biggest factor of stress is not knowing. When somebody falls under stress, a lot of times it's because they don't know what to do. But with having understanding of precepts, we will understand not only what to do, but we'll understand how to do it, when to do it, and what's the purpose of doing it. So this is why precepts are so important. And another part of just, looking at precepts, we can see different examples even in this world today. When somebody makes a product, what is the initial thought or idea with this product being made? So for example, what we had in when I was in college, we had different things called case studies. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. We're kind of going to look at a case study. So when those when they came up with the Tide Pods, what was the purpose of the Tide Pod? Like, what was the idea of the Tide Pod? So we know that excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. So we know that the purpose of the Tide Pod was to act as a is detergent. It's there to clean your clothes. That's what it's there for. There is no other use. So and we can see that in here. It says Tide's parent company, Procter & Gamble, said in a statement that it is deeply concerned about conversations related to intentional and proper use of liquid laundry packs. Laundry packs are made to clean clothes. Procter & Gamble spokeswoman Petra Renick said in the statement, they should not be played with, whatever the circumstance, even if it's meant as a joke. Like all household cleaning products, they must be used properly and stored safely. So we see here that the Tide Pods or laundry packs as referred here are made to clean clothes. That's the whole purpose of it. But the Tide Pods challenge that it started in 2017, and then it transitioned into 2018. I think is when it got really popular. But kids were on social media platforms ingesting them. They were eating them, and it was causing a lot of people, children to be sick. And the thing about Tide Pods is that it contains hydrogen peroxide, like among other things. So it is not good for our health at all. And it wasn't purpose, as they said here in this statement, it wasn't purpose to be ingested, but this is how people used it, and it made them sick. They used the product out of its original purpose of design, and it caused illness in people's lives. Okay. And that's what we have to be careful of, especially when we're dealing with the scripture, is not to get off from Elohim's word, because if we do, then what we're going to cause in our own lives is we're going to go off the course, is because we're not following his plans or ideas, if we're not getting the right precepts. And what we're falling into is a trap that has been set by the enemy. I mean, it could be a trap of what many may consider religion, because what religion will do is take that thought idea, have you live off of it, and there won't be any fruit from it. So we want the ideas that'll bring fruit, that'll bring evidence of Elohim working in our lives. So we have to stay consistent in following the ideas in scripture and applying them in our lives and when we're studying scripture. Because if we don't apply what is called the kingdom concepts, we don't filter everything through the concepts, then what we're going to do is fall victim to mistranslation. So if we go back, study original thought, what was his plan for this? This doesn't agree with his plan, so it can't be right. So that's how we have to think when we're looking at scripture. And we're going to get more into it as we get deeper into this teaching. Okay, so one thing about it, like this original product, we have to look at, okay, what was Elohim's original design for man? All right, so created beings, we're going to deal with mankind. And we know that Adam, that all of mankind was in him. We have to look at that Hebrew Aleph Bet Nun, and we know it's a picture of a fish jumping out of water or a seed. What it means is it's a seed denoting life. You know, as long as you have a seed from a fruit, you can always grow another tree. Okay, whatever, you know, if I want a apple, you know, I just go get an apple seed, I put it in the ground and I water it. And, you know, if I want, what else is there? If I want peaches, you know, I go get a peach seed, put it in the ground, water it. You know, that's how we're able to multiply, is by seeds. So seed is basically a law of multiplication, or I guess you would say eternal multiplication, because it can keep going and keep going and keep going, because the seed of life was in Adam. So and I remember reading that when I saw the word Adam, looking in the Hebrew, it was like mankind. I'm like, how could Adam or Adam be all of mankind? And it's because he contained all the seed of life. All right. So with that being said, what was his idea for Adam and his seed? So Elohim says, and it's in his word in Bereshit, Genesis 1:26 through 27. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the ground. And Elohim created the man in his image. In the image of Elohim created him, male and female, he created them. So here we see that mankind was created to be like Elohim, with exercising dominion on the earth. Whatever Elohim said, you know, during creation, it was there. Same thing with man. Whatever man said, it happened. And Elohim gave mankind a vision. He gave him the vision to manage the earth, to tend and to keep it. And that's what Elohim's original purpose was for mankind. That was his idea when it came to create man. There was nothing involved in there for man to fall, to, you know, people have sickness today and blame it on Elohim. You have some people who consider themselves atheists today because they feel as though there is no, that they say there is no God. But a lot of them are really just angry with Elohim because they don't understand why. They don't understand how. They don't understand what it is that they're supposed to do. So they fall victim to these ideas that have groomed them to be who they are. And by their, I mean, it could be their environment, or it could be just ideas that they've accepted, or it could be a trick of the enemy. Okay, so with people, we know that mankind fell from that place of dominion on the earth. So and with that, you know, mankind exercised his free will. Okay, and the will that he chose was against Elohim. So what about other created beings? What happened to them? So the other created being that we know that exists from scripture is the Malachim, or the angels. And these a lot of times are considered messengers. So messenger, and I have to say that I'm dealing with all of this because it ties into that question, because without going to the original, then we can't understand the process of getting the answer to a lot of questions that we have when it comes to scripture. It seems so difficult, like nobody knows why. You know, we don't question God. You know, that's what people say. But there are so many questions that can be answered if we just start building precepts in us that help us receive, or, you know, have an understanding of kingdom concepts. And once we have those kingdom concepts, the ideas or thoughts crystallize that make up the scripture, then we'll see how to better navigate scripture itself. You know, when something comes up, we can know this is what this passage means, and we can actually apply those laws, because we'll see the laws that are in scripture, what was the Father whole point of making this law? Why did he create this law? Why did he create the law of Thanksgiving? Why did he create the law of multiplication? Why did he create the law of procreation? Why did he create these laws? Why? So with getting the precepts, we'll see why to a lot of these questions. And we won't have a lot of questions. We'll be able to identify where it is that somebody may have gotten off, where I myself may have gotten off when it comes to scripture, or where a translation may have gotten off. So, and that's what we're dealing with here.